again. It's me, Harriet, and welcome if you're new, and thank you for coming back if you have come back for another video. I always forget to say that in my videos, but welcome and hello. I'm very glad that you're here. It's getting quite dark and horrible outside, so I'm sorry if the lighting changes a bit. I have got my studio light there, but this side might be doing some things we're not expecting, so I hope you don't mind that. I'm filming this on the same day as I filmed my January makes, so I haven't trimmed my fringe yet, but I promise I'm going to do it at some point today. So in one of the next videos I will have a trimmed fringe. Today I thought I'd talk to you about my favourite books, because that's one of the things that I really enjoy doing aside from sewing and writing and things, is reading. So technically I've got 7, but we'll pretend it's 5 so that it's a nice round number. And these aren't in any kind of order, so yeah. I'll just jump right in. First is obviously going to be Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. These are really pretty covers. I have plenty of covers that I could have chosen from, but these ones go together nicely, and they've got little rabbits on the front of this one and little Alices on the front of this one. They also have full colour illustrations, but that is not what I'm here to talk about. I'm just here to say that Alice in Wonderland, they're both wonderful in my opinion, and I have read them so many times and I'm going to reread them many more times, and I'd recommend them very much. They're just very good books. Props to Lewis Carroll on those. I can go back on my shrine shelf now. Next is the Harry Potter series, but specifically the Goblet of Fire. That's my favourite one. This is the 4th book in the series, and it's just the film and the book are my favourites of them all. It's quite a hefty one. We do have all the hardback ones, but we've kind of scouted about charity shops to try and find the paperbacks, just because the hardbacks are so heavy to hold in bed. And I've also got the Stephen Fry audiobook versions of them, so when I'm on the train going up to visit Will or something, I can listen to those. But they're just they're very cosy books, these ones. So if you haven't read them, I can imagine you've heard a lot about them. And contrary to popular belief, you can read them as an adult. I'd say that especially the books towards the end do get a bit scary for children, so you can definitely read them as an adult. I would 100% say so. So if you haven't read them yet, why not? You can. Go do it. Another one that you can probably guess is Jurassic Park. I dropped this one in the bath. Oh, sorry, I need you there. I dropped this one in the bath, and I'm going to be rereading this as my next book. I'm reading Little Women at the moment, but Jurassic Park is where it's at. Look, Mum just passed in my dinosaur mug, so they go together very nicely. This one, in case you haven't seen the films, I can't remember what year the first film came out, but there's a new one, Jurassic World, The Kingdom Falls or something. It's coming out this year. So now's your chance to read this bad boy. The book came out before the film, so the film was an adaptation, not the other way round. And the author also wrote Westworld, which is a telly-series that I very much enjoy, and I'm excited for it to come back this year. I'll read you the blurb, shall I? On a remote jungle island, genetic engineers have created a dinosaur game park. The appeal's already there, isn't it? An astonishing technique for recovering and cloning dinosaur DNA has been discovered. Now one of mankind's most thrilling fantasies has come true, and the first dinosaurs that the Earth has seen in the time of man emerge. But there's a dark side to the fantasy. Oh! And after a catastrophe destroys the park's defense systems, the scientists and tourists are left fighting for survival. It's so good. It's really good. And there's a very good baby Triceratops scene in the book that I folded down the page. I can tell you what page it is in this version. It's page 290. and his name is Ralph, the baby Triceratops. So, good one, very good one. Next, I'll go for, I think this counts as non-fiction, but this is a C.S. Lewis book, and I read The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe a very long time ago, but this one is more of a sort of looking into religion. He's got a whole series of religious books. I've got 3 of them, and this one is my favourite. It's one that you do have to concentrate on, but I've put all my post-its in. I clearly gave up on the post-its after the first bit because but the font is quite nice and big, and this one is if there is an all-powerful God, why does he allow suffering and pain? Why do animals or children suffer? And that kind of thing. It's about how God comes into pain and things like that. And this was, I read this for the first time when I was writing my extended project qualification, is what it's called. And I wrote about how religion and physical ailments and mental sort of illness comes into having an all-loving God, and I find it very interesting, the philosophy of religion, and I've got a few of his other books, but that's the only one that I've actually read so far. Next, we're going back to fiction, is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I read this quite a while ago, but my plan is to reread it in a couple of years. Not this year, maybe next year or the year after, so that I've completely forgotten what happens and I can read it again like I'm reading it for the first time, because it was so good. And I think I read this entire book. It's over 490 pages I read in 2 days because it was just that good. It's not like I was stuck in bed or anything, I couldn't get away from the book. And this one is about a circus that arrives without warning, like no one knows it's coming, and there are no announcements or anything. It just kind of turns up and is there for a few days, and then it just disappears again. That's kind of all you can say without spoiling it, and also, to be honest with you, I've forgotten the majority, but I don't want to start reading it and then think, oh yeah, that's what happens. So, well, hey, so I'm leaving it a bit more. I don't want to think too deeply, but that was definitely one of the best books I've ever read. Well, I mean, it's in this in this video, but I couldn't put that one down. This one is a nice little one with a very pretty cover. See, it's got like little newspaper print in the background. I have this cover edition of Animal Farm 1984 and Down and Out in Paris and London. And this is by George Orwell, and is sort of based on Soviet Russia, but in the form of animals on a farm. So yeah, I think, I can't quite remember because I never actually studied this in school. I studied 1984 and I loved 1984 as well, but I think I preferred this just a little bit more. And you can read it in a couple of hours train journey. It's a really little book, and it's not even like it's tiny. It's quite a little font, but it's not tiny font, and it is definitely a very good read if you are interested in Russian history. I'm sure a lot of you have read it already, but read it again. It's only little, and you can find this cover, which is a very pretty cover. I will link all of the books that I've spoken about below. I'm going to link them to a Waterstones website. I think it might just be Australia and the UK that has Waterstones. I'm not sure about America, but I am an affiliate for Waterstones, so if you buy something through the link, then I get a tiny little baby percentage commission. It's not anything to do with any of these books, it's just Waterstones, so no matter which book, I'd get a tiny, it's literally such a small commission, and you don't get charged anything extra or anything. But yeah, I really love these books, and I think that you can find, they're quite a diverse range that I've picked, so hopefully you will find at least one that you will enjoy very much. And I will speak to you again soon with a trimmed fringe and a different top on. Bye!